So, what are your thoughts?
Alright, let's get this thing underway. Alright, so today we're going to be bringing you guys a little recap from MLG Raleigh this weekend. It was a big event. We had everything from disqualifications in League of Legends to some awesome StarCraft play to fighters and everything in between. So it was a great weekend. We're proud to say that one of our own, Gridlock here from Game Talk Live, was able to head over there and scout out and give us some insider info to everything that went on there. So my first question is, I guess, how was the overall experience? How was the venue? How were the fans? How did everything feel?
As always, it's amazing. I actually got to go to MLG Orlando as well in 2011, and this was essentially just like that. It was great, filled with all amazing people. Everyone's really, the whole atmosphere is just excitement the whole entire time. You're there for video games, you're there to have fun, and you're there to see all your favorite players, duke it out and hopefully take home the trophy. And everyone just had a great time. The atmosphere is unparalleled to anything I've experienced.
So how would, from watching on the stream, I guess some of my thoughts were it didn't look as big as some of the events. It definitely was not as strong as some MLG's past. Definitely DreamHack and a lot of the European events have been almost twice as huge, in my opinion. Why was there a disconnect between some of the level of hype and just the number of fans out?
What I see is generally on the East Coast, with the exception of Orlando. Orlando was actually fairly large, in my opinion. Not as large as Anaheim, and certainly not as large as places like DreamHack. That's just those are just meant to be just absolutely massive. But Raleigh in particular is one of the smaller ones because I feel like it's kind of in between. It's really not near anywhere that is really esports focused. Anaheim is massive because it's right in California, and
right.
There's tons of esports in California with LA and everything. Orlando is pretty decent. It was fairly huge actually. One other thing to consider is also it was kind of weird because this venue was massive. It's easily bigger than the Gaylord in Orlando, which was last year.
Right.
And it just seemed like there was so much room that it felt a little bit like the crowds felt a little bit smaller. Granted, if you're there and you're in the middle of those crowds, it feels a lot different. But also, the European scene with DreamHack and everything, it's
huge,
colossal
right.
compared to North America. Yeah.
So I think a couple things, you hit on a lot of good points, but a couple I want to bring up as well was one of the main reasons, especially in the StarCraft 2 side of things. We had a lot of the Caspa players could not be there. The whole Caspa thing was not there. And then, consequently, from the StarCraft side, on the League of Legends side, the biggest North American team in this predominantly North American-based tournament, Team Solo Mid, was not able to attend this event as well. So those two factors, let alone got lower stream numbers and lower, obviously, ticket sales to the venue. So There was a lot of things to going on there that left Raleigh feeling not that it was a bad event by any means, but it left a little more bitter taste in some of the fans' mouths because it didn't live up to I think the big MLG is only 4 times a year now. Like it used to come around 8 times a year. Think about that, twice the amount of times, and now with MLG only coming around 4 times a year, it's like these need to be massive, and seeing such few people, especially on Friday and Saturday, was really hurt me as a fan. But what can you do?
Yeah, and the overall the big absence, being the shooters still, that's of course gonna deter a lot of people with the absence of Halo and Call of Duty. That's even more people that are absent. But then again, it's that's MLG's choice. They had to kind of like cut out the shooters this time around. But from what we've heard and from what we've seen on Twitter, that's not going to be the case in Dallas, which is great to hear.
I know. So definitely look forward to that, guys. The next event will be, I believe it's November 5th through the 7th.
I believe so.
Dallas, Texas. So that's going to be the next MLG event. But we've got a lot to cover here from Raleigh. So let's dive right in. I think we hit on some of the general points, but now we're going to get right into it. So here, we're going to start off with StarCraft 2. I want to start off with what MLG kind of started off with. MLG started off with the WCS, which is the World Championship Series. It's hosted by Blizzard, the people that make World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo, all that good stuff. Great game developers. It's hosted by them. They put forth the prize money and everything, but it's carried out, I guess you would say, by Major League Gaming. And were you able to see any of the WCS games?
WCS, I saw a few of the games. I caught a lot of Idra's games, and he actually went pretty far, and I was very surprised. I think that's like Scarlet winning was incredible. I was so happy that she ended up winning. But more notably was Idra's run. I felt he went farther than I even expected with his slump lately. I didn't expect him to go far in either WCS, nor did I expect him to go really that far in MLG. And he ended up, I think it was in the semifinals, I believe, and lost. I cannot recall who he lost to, but he was like 1 game away from playing Scarlet. Had it been a Scarlet and Idra finals, myself and my friend Nick that I went with, we would have just lost our minds, because that's like I'm a big Scarlet fan right now, and obviously like Idra's who got him into StarCraft, so he's obviously a big Idra fan. That would have been a huge feud. But that's what I saw from WCS.
Yeah. Definitely. Idra had an incredible run. The best I've seen him play in, I'd say, about 7 to 8 months. So Idra had an incredible run. Took down a lot of top players. Got really far, as did Huck. Huck played decent, but didn't get the run that Idra had. But EG definitely showed up more in the WCS tournament than they did in the MLG, which was great. And the finals was interesting because it came down to Root Vibe, who was the the United States champion, regional champion, and then the Canadian regional champion was Scarlet. So I thought it was interesting that both of the North American countries both had their respective, I guess you would say, winner of the tournament to represent them in the finals. So that was really cool to see. Vibe versus Scarlet. Scarlet just it was a stomp.
Yeah, it wasn't even really that close, honestly.
Yeah, so it was cool to see. A lot of people don't see women in esports, and to see a lovely young lady like her be able to take a great championship. We're hoping to see her again in the future. She's been open about not. She doesn't have any streaming equipment. She doesn't have a great computer, and she's not able to do anything like that. So a lot of people don't know about this little girl, but I shouldn't say a little girl. She's a nice woman, but
talented lady.
Yes, talented lady, absolutely. But hopefully we'll be seeing her more in the future by competing and placing so highly in the WCF. She's guaranteed a trip to where is it? Is it Shanghai? The next China event, I believe.
Yep. Yep, that's for the I think that's the WCS Grand Finals,
Right, right.
or like is in Shanghai.
Yeah, that's gonna be huge. So she's guaranteed a trip out there. She's gonna be with some of the top European, Korean players. Everybody's going out there. So we're gonna get to see her play on not just North American level now, on a much grander stage. So definitely look out for that in the StarCraft 2 world. But let's move on a little bit. What were some of the top stories for you in terms of, I guess, the MLG StarCraft event?
I'm gonna go ahead and just start off with the most amazing story, and that's Crank.
Oh yeah.
Oh, his departure, I guess, from Slayers came as like it was like big news. It was huge because it felt a little sour. And with that, people were questioning, with his departure from Slayers, does he feel like he can just go out and make it on his own? His run in MLG, even though he wasn't the winner, unfortunately, proved to me yes. The first thing, by the way, also, I don't know if anybody follows Jenna Bain, that's Total Biscuit's wife. She actually tweeted that teams were actually trying to fast talk Crank into joining them at MLG.
Really?
Which was very surprising. They weren't using any translators or anything, so they were just like trying to get him to join. So teams are definitely going to be on the lookout for Crank very, very soon. I actually on my personal Twitter, I kind of did a little joke thing. I was like, EG Crank, Liquid Crank, what are we going to see? So I think the forums are going to be firing up theory crafting what team he's going to join fairly soon. He had an amazing run.
Yeah, fantastic. Nobody, when you either get cut from a team, leave a team, it's never a great feeling. You've just lost a big part of your life. He was with with Slayers for a decent amount of time. So, I know there's been some bad blood. Jessica has been wanting out of there, and Slayers Alicia has been openly, I kind of want out of Slayers. Boxer just took a deal with who was it? I can't remember, but Boxer is pretty much done with Slayers. So he was the person that founded Slayers. So I mean, Slayers, definitely some craziness going on in there. But to see Crank come out of all that madness and perform so well, Crank actually won the MLG Breakout Player of the tournament. Breakout Players, the award. Got a nice trophy for that. I saw his tweet over the weekend about that. So congrats to Crank. I mean, it was just phenomenal stuff from him all weekend.
And just to go back, Boxer actually left Slayers to rejoin SKT.
Right,
he's just doing that as a coach too, which is good. But that's unfortunate always to see your leader kind of just like exit.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you remember way back in when was it? I don't even know, 2006 or 7, maybe even earlier. Slayers Boxers started that organization as well. Yep. Before Slayers was even a thought, Boxer started that. So it's good that Boxer at least got back to his roots and he's doing his thing. So that's great. But yeah, great run by Crank. What else did you see this weekend before we get too far into the finals or anything like that? What other things were you keeping up with in terms of the StarCraft tournament?
I was mostly I kept up with the Muslim for a few games, and he beat out quite a few people, and I ended up following him all the way up until he went to his game against MKP.
Right.
And unfortunately lost there, and that was like, I actually completely sidetracked myself from the main stage to go watch the Muslim and MKP, because those are my two of my highly respected Terrans, and MKP was just on fire all the way up until I think a few games before the semifinals, and unfortunately he just kind of dabbled
Fizzled
off.
out.
Also a little bit of the kind of weirdness going on. Destiny was doing phenomenal. He was in winners round 5, and if anybody, I'm not gonna say what happened because Reddit can tell you all that you need to know. You can just go to our StarCraft and you'll figure everything else out. But a few things that kind of some personal issues that happened involving his Twitter account, he ended up having to leave. That's not to take away that, but what interests me is that he actually is going to Poland pretty soon to join up and train at Ministry. And so it's going to be interesting to see if he can get that far and then have to DQ out because of some personal issues. If he can get to winners round 5 on I think it was like the first day. Yeah, first day.
Yeah.
Because he didn't come back the second day. If he can do that well on the first day and beat out the phenomenal players he did,
Yeah.
imagine what he's going to do after months and months of training in Poland, and then to come back and try to compete in the MLG or DreamHack or something.
And this is a guy we're talking about here, Destiny, with not a lot of tournament experience, streams a ton, plays the game a ton. I'm not discounting his skill. He's a talented player, but this is a guy that has not performed on LAN. He doesn't go to all that many events, and to see him come out and get so deep in a big tournament was impressive.
Absolutely, he did pretty amazing. I was actually really excited. He's mostly exactly what you said. He's mostly known for his streaming, his outrageous streaming.
Yeah.
A lot of fun to watch him just play any game for that matter. But yeah, it seems like he wants to focus more of his tournament play. He was, some of you may recall that he was playing a lot of League of Legends for a while, and he was actually decent. He was okay. He was okay. I'll give him an okay. He's better than me at the game, so I'll put it that way. But then he kind of like shifted his focus back to StarCraft, started training more, and now with going to Poland, it seems like he's really going to take this all the way and try to actually go far in or win tournaments.
I think he's finally ready to take that next step that he knows he needs in order to make a difference and really push this whole pro career thing. And congrats to him. So really cool stuff coming out of Destiny. And you mentioned Marine King Prime earlier before that, and I just wanted to touch on a quick thing about him. This guy's an MLG beast. I mean, he can come into any MLG tournament and perform. He's won, I think, two now, maybe three. And
yeah, I think it's 2.
Is it 2? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 2 as well. But this guy, even when he doesn't win, he just comes and puts on a show.
Yep, absolutely. His Terran play is like some of my favorite to watch because it's very aggressive. I love aggressive Terran play. I don't like that real long macro style Terran. I like to see it, but he can like mix it up. That's the thing. He can not only put on that heavy aggression, those heavy Marine all-ins and everything like that, or like semi all-ins, but then like if he botches the all-in, I can watch him like, okay, I only have so many SCVs left. Well, let's make this a macro game then. Why not? It's like, how do you come back from that? You just lost probably like close to like 10 SCVs and all your Marines. All right, well, let me just go ahead. But he does so much damage that he forces his opponent to also macro, and it's a phenomenal style. I love watching it.
It's really cool. That's why he's so loved, because A, he's just an adorable human being, and B, his the way he plays is so unorthodox and unlike 80% of the Terrans that play, especially in Korea. So he's such a joy to watch. MKP, a real dominant force in all the MLG tournaments. So let's move up the brackets a little bit. We started to. I hadn't followed much of Leanox play until Championship Sunday. That kid, man.
that kid is he's like come from behind. He comes out of nowhere and just demolishes everything. I just couldn't stop. I didn't even follow him that much until Championships Sunday. I watched a couple of his games, and I'm trying to figure out what games I watched him in, and I can't. For some reason, I just can't remember now, and that's exactly what it's like. It's just you don't hear about him Friday, you don't hear about him Saturday,
yep.
And then Sunday comes along, and he's like, what, 4-1ing his opponent in the finals. It's what? Like,
it's
where did this come from?
It's unreal. He's just one of those players. Good.
Oh, it was against Huck. It was actually against Huck when that he ended up winning. I actually ended up watching when Huck actually forgot Blink for 20 minutes.
Oh no!
Like completely didn't get Blink for 20, but still made it a good game. That was the thing. That game was actually very close, even through the mistakes that Huck was making. And the problem is, one thing I will say about Huck, kind of getting off the Leanox topic for just a second, he seemed very, very, very emotional this tournament. It was a little hard to watch. Every single time he lost, I usually see Huck, I've seen him take a few losses hard. He gets bummed out, just like everybody. But this time it was almost every single game that he lost, he was just like like to give you an example, he just takes off his headset and just covers his face. He was just so devastated after every loss. And I think that played a huge role because he was playing when he was happy about it. He was playing great, just like against Leenock. You forget Blink for 20 minutes, and then you get so close to winning that game, and then he just, I mean, Leenock just kind of like had the better play. It's what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But there was a lot of games that he would just lose and then lose a second one, and just because he got way too emotional about it, and I think that was really unfortunate.
Taking a page out of one E.G. Idra's playbook right there, getting very upset about. And I noticed it all weekend. I thought he played relatively well in the WCS, and I was thinking, hey, maybe Huck can finally bring that aggression over into the actual tournament. But unfortunately for EG, they just had a really, really rough run in the actual MLG tournament. GG Idra.
Yeah. It was really unfortunate to see EG kind of like slump a little bit.
But to cut you off there, on a brighter note, Sir Scoots celebrated his birthday over the weekend.
Yes.
So all of the EG team, excuse me, that was Idra, Huck, In Control even came out. Machine was out there. I can't even. The whole squad was out there. All went out and got some barbecue, and gave Scoots a little piece of cake with a candle in it, and had a good time celebrating Sir Scoots' birthday. And it was funny. He tweeted over the weekend. They gave him this piece of cake with one candle in it, and he's like, "Oh, one candle for every 40 years or something like that." So
Exactly. Good old Scoots, celebrating his birthday. It was great, and we got to see Bryce, aka Machine, in a pink polo. That was always hilarious.
I saw that.
That was pretty hilarious. And then and I actually got to talk to Scoots for a little while. I think on Saturday. I felt kind of bad because I didn't know it was his birthday, and I would have wished him a good old happy birthday had I known. But yeah, happy birthday to Scoots, and it was kind of funny getting to talk to him. It was right after the little D Apollo thing that went down. Little comment on Twitter that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
That was I don't know if you want me to go into that or.
We can leave it as is.
Yeah. It was funny. It was all in good humor, but let's just put it this way. I think living with Too Good is taking its toll on Apollo. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. If you want to hear what we're talking about, go follow. I believe it's D Apollo or D Apollo SC2, one of the two, on Twitter. You can find out more about that. All right, CJ. We'll talk to you later, buddy. Okay.
All right, man. Take care.
See you later. Let's wrap up StarCraft 2 here. The STC played really, really impressive StarCraft. I mean, I knew this guy was good. I followed him a lot in the past. He performed really well in, I believe, the DreamHack Winter event. He was top 2. And I knew this guy was good, but I mean, he's becoming very, very consistent.
Yes, absolutely. He played very well against I believe it was Leenock that he was doing, right? When he forced he forced the best of 7 against Leenock. Unfortunately, Leenock beat him out.
Yep.
But the fact that STC came back from that, forcing that extended series was absolutely amazing, and he made it for some amazing. I think the series ended 4-3, so it was just phenomenal Terran play that he was doing. He was easily keeping up with Leenock's 100% of the time muted mid game. It was just it was phenomenal to see that micro being played out, and I'd like to see more of him in MLG. I think he could take it a lot farther if he just trains a little bit better.
Yep, the STC proving that being down 2-3 games and coming back with such a vengeance all the time, such resiliency, really is going to make the STC stand out. And his ability to take the mid game, the pressure, the constant harassment by infested Terrans in your mineral line and Muta is flying around, no matter which way a Zerg goes with infestors or with Mutalisks, it's just insane how he's able to really just hold it off, and then be aggressive. And it's really cool play by the SEC. Inventive, different all the time, and that's it.
Absolutely.
Did you
Oh,
have
I
anything
was
else?
just no, that was pretty
Okay.
much it. I was
Okay.
just
Yeah. Last thoughts
the only
on
other-
StarCraft.
oh,
2.
the only other thing I wanted to say
Yeah.
was big shout out to Hero
Oh yeah.
for some amazing games that I saw. It was and the two cooler things that happened was Maximus Black was there. I'm sure everyone's seen the GIF by now. Super Saiyan Maximus Black firing the Kamehameha. That was absolutely hilarious. I actually got to stand next to him and watch that. That was absolutely hysterical. So a lot of great entertainment as far as StarCraft goes too.
Yeah. A lot of between we had Clutch '08 dancing around to Gangnam Style and all sorts of crazy madness over on the StarCraft 2 stage. Definitely a lot louder. Definitely the loudest stage in the building was the StarCraft 2 stage by far, and that may have had something to do with just the lack of competition over on the league side. But nonetheless, really cool stuff from the StarCraft 2. Congrats to Lenok, obviously. If we didn't say that, congrats to him for taking it in the finals.
Yep.
All right, so that's going to wrap up our little segment on StarCraft 2 and MLG Raleigh. We're going to be transitioning over towards the League of Legends side of things. Now, I know you weren't physically watching a lot of it, but you'll be able to at least help out here and comment on what you think. So first thing we saw on Friday was Team Fortnite, who a lot of people know Team Fortnite. They're a strong team. They've been around for quite some time, but their top laner, who plays in top lane, was not here. So they got a former member of Team Solo Mid and current one of the biggest streamers on Own3D right now. He goes by the name of the Rain Man. He used to play on Solo Mid for their top lane until they took him out and got Dyrus. But obviously that was a big transition. I mean, this is a guy who hasn't played in competitive play for months. I mean, has been living with his girlfriend and just he solo queues. He plays almost every day, but this is a guy who hasn't been to a LAN event in months and months and months. And to see him come out, to see him, he made a vlog afterwards, and he was like, you know what, this was just awesome. He loved everything about MLG. Granted, they got out, and they were the first team out in losers, so Fortnite not placing very well at all. But the Rain Man was so happy to be a part of the tournament, so happy to be there and just be in a professional game again. So it was really great to see the Rain Man coming out, leaving his stream for a few days and coming out onto the professional stage. So hopefully somebody will see him, because he was just a substitute. Hopefully somebody will see him and be like, hey, the Rain Man still got it. Let's pick him up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I will say this. I know you said that the StarCraft 2 side was pretty loud.
Yeah.
League got fairly excited from time to time. I remember I was there was a few times I was actually standing in the line to get for Day 9's autograph. Just doing my fanboy thing, and I actually got scared because I think it was a really big gank ended up happening in top lane. I can't remember the teams, but it was definitely on. I can't remember the champs now either. But it's either way, they just exploded every time a big play was made. It wasn't even like the crowd was like half the size of StarCraft 2, and they were getting exponentially louder from time to time.
Even in the finals, I mean, I don't know if they were annoyed by the finals, which we'll get into, but I just when the camera would kind of pan over everything, I was just like, there's nobody watching League of Legends right now. So, and that again had part to do with the lack of competition, Team Solo Mid not being there, and just the trolls in the finals and everything. But yeah, either way, moving on. Team Fortnite didn't place well, but it was good to see Rain Man back in play. And where to go? I guess the biggest story was all weekend long. Curse cruised through their bracket. Team Curse NA and Team Dignitas both cruised through their bracket. Team Orbit Gaming played well, but weren't able to stand up to the forces that are Curse and Dignitas. But both teams met in the finals, and the consensus between both Curse and Dignitas was, in game number 1, we are going to have an ARAM. In game 1 of the grand finals of Major League Gaming Raleigh where there is $12,000 for second place, where there's $20,000 for first place. So we're talking about an $8,000 difference between first and second.
Right.
Both the teams decided game number one they're going to play an all-random, all-middle style game. If you're unfamiliar with what that is, all 10 players crash the middle lane, and it's just this blind cluster disaster of destruction. And there's really not a lot of skill involved, and it's just whatever happens. We don't really care about placing well. We don't care about our placement coming into PAX next weekend. What do you have to say about that one?
It just seemed really odd. The whole ARAM style was it just seemed like that a lot of the top players kind of didn't take this tournament very seriously at all. Yeah. With what happened in the finals, but also with just the way they placed. I feel like Dignitas and Curse knew. They knew that they were just gonna ram through their groups, and eventually one of them was they were gonna be duking it out in the finals anyway. So
yeah,
it's whatever. And it's a little bit discouraging to say the least and what I really kept hearing, and even though I didn't know how they did, but it seemed like every time someone would mention League, they would mention CLG at the tournament, and I don't know if you can actually go actually kind of enlighten me on this, but that was the name on everyone's lips. Like, I'm standing in line for like a big raffle, and I just keep hearing, the Team CLG is doing okay. They're doing pretty good. What was the deal with that? Can you explain?
I think they're talking about CLG was not there. Team CLG NA was not there, so that could have been part of the talk. But they were CLG Black, which is like their sister team, was there and placed very well. So that CLG NA, their main team, Hotshot GG, he's the big streamer. He's the guy everybody knows. Void Boy plays top lane, one of the best tops in the world. That's CLG NA. They were not at this tournament. CLG Black, which has Hood Stomp and who plays AD carry for them. He's one of their predominant Twitter posters and streamers and things. Played very, very well. And they were, I believe, got fourth. I forget. Wow. Yeah, so they placed really well. I don't know if them or Orbit. There was they have the consolation match for third and fourth. I'm not sure who. I was watching the grand finals, so I didn't see the consolation match. I know Monomaniac Esports was up there too. They played good all weekend. Who just recently converted from MTWNA, so they're now part of Monomaniac, which is a nice little sponsorship for them. But yeah, CLG Black. Sorry, played really impressively all weekend long. And
that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They were definitely if there was a breakout team for League, that was definitely them. Nobody was expecting them to play all that well. So cool stuff by CLG Black. One thing I want to get into back towards the finals of League, we had Curse and Dignitas. They played their ARAM. It just immediately Reddit blows up with, "This is unprofessional, this is not esports, we didn't pay to see this, blah, blah, blah." It's true, it wasn't professional. That's not what teed off MLG. That's not why MLG yanked their prize money away, A. And B, worse, in my opinion, not only losing $20,000 for your organization, but you're losing circuit points. Those ever important circuit points are being taken away from you. So both Dignitas and Curse lost the points that they could have earned going into the regionals next weekend. So that means for Dignitas, they could get, I believe, a second or third slot now that they just lost those extra circuit points. So that means they could play a more difficult team and possibly get upset in the opening round. So that just sucks for them.
Yeah, absolutely. They really hurt themselves in that matter. That was truly unfortunate what happened.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit. I'm gonna bring it up on stream here. Here is by Odie himself. Now, if you know anything about Odie, he is the manager of Team Dignitas. He's over in Europe right now, so his on some weird time schedule. But Odie is the manager. He's a big guy. He used to play football, right? Odie's not a guy you mess around with. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
So Odie, I can guarantee you, grabbed these guys by the Skype, by the whatever. He probably hasn't seen them yet, but grabbed these guys by their Twitters, wrung them around their neck, and said, "What in the flying hell are you guys doing? You are disgracing the name of Team Dignitas. What are you seriously doing?" Right here, I'm showing on stream. This is the official statement regarding the League of Legends via Odie. It has come to our attention that during yesterday's Major League Gaming Summer Championship League of Legends event, our League of Legends teams have engaged in misconduct. We have found at least some of the accusations to be valid. As a consequence, we have decided to investigate the situation fully, ascertain all of the facts. We will release a statement describing our responsive actions within 2 days. So that's a very Odie thing to say. He never gives out any information right away. He's always like, we're going to talk to our supervisors, we're going to talk it out, figure out exactly what happened. And that's it. They definitely are sorry for what happened, but they want to delve a little bit deeper into it. And the accusations that went on were as follows. Both CLG and now you got me saying CLG. Dignitas and Curse NA were charged with collusion, which collusion is sort of match fixing, right? Both teams agreed that they're going to play out the finals, and whoever wins, it doesn't matter. They're going to split the prize money. That is the alleged accusation by MLG, by everybody. Sir Scoots even tweeted about it, saying that he got a lot of flame for it, actually, but Scoots tweeted about it and said that, hey, I overheard people talking about this, blah, 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 and this and that. Put him some flame on Team Liquid. Go ahead.
No, and just to reiterate, and it got a lot of attention from Total Biscuit as well, who also got a lot of flame for it. But he actually went as far to say is like, this is why I prefer the Dota 2 community to League of Legends. And I don't want to knock on a community as a whole, but just to say, when your top teams, when two top teams like this are engaging in such like haggard behavior. I know, StarCraft 2 is certainly, we can't really wash our hands of like a few match fixing problems ourselves. So this isn't like something that hasn't happened before, but it's certainly attracted a ton of attention, and it's really unfortunate.
Yeah, and it's good for the community in a way that like MLG really put their foot down and they said, hey, this is not something we're going to tolerate. We don't want any of our games to show such disrespect and unprofessionalism for esports as a whole. And I think it's nice that now everybody knows that, crap, we need to really clean up our act. And it's good for the community in that sense, but it's bad because of this fact. This is what Curse NA had to say about it. I'm going to bring it up on stream so we can take a little watch at Curse's explanation to the whole situation.
Videos to clarify what actually happened with the MLG disqualification. Curse and Dignitas basically agreed upon a ARAM for the first game. We thought this would be kind of a fun play-around game, just, to have fun. And not a lot of people appreciate it. Our fans didn't appreciate it. Anything outside of this is false. Any accusations are false. And we'd also like to apologize to our fans. We should have given them a better show, and we want to apologize to esports in general. We should have been more professional, and we just want to say sorry to our fans, and thank you for supporting us.
Sorry, fans.
Sorry, guys.
All right, so that's basically what Curse had to say. Sorry if the volume was a little low, but I'll reiterate some of the points. Same Vicious hit on there in the middle was basically saying that we're incredibly sorry for playing an ARAM. That's not something we should have done. It's very unprofessional. They apologize to their sponsors, to Riot Games, who make League of Legends, to MLG, to everybody, to all their fans. They're very apologetic. But the thing is, St. Vicious especially, was not apologetic for these accusations that were made of collusion. So what I'm thinking is, within the next day or two here, we're going to hear from both Dignitas and Curse as to what goes on here, because they're both, to what I understand, this is my own personal opinion for all the things that I've collected and read, both teams are denying collusion. They're both saying that we did not split any prize money, we did not have any intention of splitting any prize money, we just wanted to play an ARAM to have some fun, to show our fans a little bit of joy on the main stage and just get a few laughs out of it. That's all that Team Curse is saying here. So take it what you want. They're pretty much denying that collusion existed.
Yeah, it's a little troublesome because for all 10 players to say that collusion didn't go on, it seems like, all right, maybe there's some truth to it, but I don't really. I would say in like the next 2 days. That's why I really liked Odie's statement. It's it's quick to the point, and he's got a deadline. He's gonna figure out, come hell or high water, what really went on. So no matter what anyone says, the truth will be out in a few days. If all 5 players of Curse are saying that no collusion went down, and all 5 players of Dignitas say no collusion went down, and there's nothing to prove that it was going to, then.
Right.
I guess we'll just have to take it as its word.
All the guys over at Lee, at MLG Lee over on Twitter, and some of the other the heads and some of the big guys over at MLG were basically saying, listen, we heard people talking about this immediately after Game 1 when we saw you guys playing ARAM. We went into investigation. Right after Game 1, these guys hit the floor, started talking to people, anybody that they could get a hold of, and were like, hey, what do you know about this? Why are these guys doing this? What is the reasoning behind it? Is there match fixing going on? And from what they gathered, they were able to say that after Game 1, they were disqualified. They didn't tell the teams. They let them play out the full series, which is good. I'm glad they were allowed us to get a show for all the people who paid and everything, which is great. That Curse and Dignitas were able to play out their series, but essentially from what I heard from MLG, they were disqualified after game number 1.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that's
rough stuff going over there. And just tweeted out from Travis, who is State of the League Travis, everybody knows him from the League of Legends community, just picking up Scar from the airport, actually. So hopefully Scar will be getting home soon, and we'll be hearing word from, he's obviously the AP mid player for Team Dignitas, and hopefully we'll be hearing word about what Odie has to say, what the Curse guys have to say, and I really hope this gets resolved, because it's not only terrible, and even if you don't follow League of Legends, this is not good. This is not professional. We're trying to promote something here. This is a business that we're trying to grow. We're planting the seeds now. This thing is huge as it is. We're planting this ginormous seed that we want to grow, that is esports, and this is not a good look. We want people to look in, other sponsors, more people, ESPN, some of these big sponsors, we want them to look in and say, hey, this is something I want to invest in, because these kids, these guys and girls and everybody are playing their hearts out. They're playing for real money and real sponsors and everything, and we want people to come in and see that, like, there's not huge amounts of drama going on, and even if you're a StarCraft 2 player, this is not a good look.
Yeah, exactly. We just want esports to grow even bigger than it already is now. It's huge now. We want it to be colossal. We want this to be an integral part of pop culture, and that would be amazing if it is. If any kind of if misconduct like this goes on a regular basis, then it won't. It won't happen. Yeah. And so players have to realize that they must remain professional. Teams must remain professional, and even joking around about that is not really okay, honestly. It might be a little bit of a laugh here and there, but I'm kind of diving into the whole Apollo thing. I was just gonna put it out there. I talked to Scoots about it. It was just a little tiny link on Reddit that said Scoots tells Suppy, one of the newest EG player, to throw games against Idra and Huck. no source to the link whatsoever, no truth behind this whatsoever. It's totally false. But even like a joke about that was enough to, get, Scoots' Jimmy's a little rustled, to put it in a little lighter manner.
Yeah.
And I even talked to him. He was just like, look, I get tons of haters on Reddit. I get tons of haters on, Facebook, Twitter, all over. I get tons of haters of EG. The last thing I need this from is my friends, and it's a little bit funny, but it's funny in a private setting, not in a social network setting.
Yeah,
you don't want
too
to take
much.
it that far.
A little too
Like,
much, I agree.
Wheat understood, but Scoots didn't understand. And then immediately that with Dignitas and Curse happens, and it's just like, wow, like, it really isn't funny. Like, I thought it was kind of like a little quirky at first, and I'm like, yeah, it's funny. That's, some troll on the internet's getting a little bit of more of attention than he needs. And then, like, I was like, wow, this really isn't okay.
No.
This isn't good for esports. We don't want to do this.
No, this is not something we wanted to do. And Reddit, I mean, hours after the tournament, Reddit pretty much jumped off, and we're so quick to write off this tournament as a whole. They basically said that this is not only the worst tournament that MLG has ever put on, we're talking about the founding company that started this whole thing, that took Halo and nurtured it into this humongous esport that everybody knew. And Reddit exploded saying that this was not only MLG's worst tournament, but one of the worst esport tournaments ever put on, period. And that's a huge, huge statement, and I just feel terrible that people felt that way. I thought there was still a lot of competition, but just there was a feeling of unprofessionalism, and it all sort of spawns back to the fact that CLG didn't want to compete, Team Solo Mid didn't want to compete, Kespa wasn't there, a lot of the Korean players in StarCraft weren't there. So with the Season 2 championships coming up for League of Legends and some of the big StarCraft 2 stuff coming up as well, there's just there was a lack of competition, and people took that lack of competition as like, well, let's troll the hell out of everything,
Yeah, it's unfortunate that that internet trolls have to jump on the organization as a whole when the majority of it wasn't really their fault. The Kespa, the Korean players, sure, maybe a logistical error. We can chalk that up to some unfortunate events. The unprofessionalism that went on with the Curse and Dignitas, nothing to do with MLG whatsoever. It's just unfortunate.
No.
It was the wrong place, wrong time. It's unfortunate that it happened at MLG.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
The teams that decided to not compete, TSM and CLG, that's their choice.
It's their prerogative. No, I don't deny that. I'm just saying that added to the lack of competition. Yep. As a whole. No, that's their prerogative. They released statements and said, Solo Mid especially, they were like, hey, we've got the Season 2 championships coming up. We don't need any more circuit points. We're already guaranteed a #1 slot. So, there's nothing wrong with that. I wasn't blaming them. I was just saying that was adding towards...
Oh, yeah. It's just unfortunate the internet has to react in such a manner. It's, of course, trolls will be trolls, and that's just the nature of, I guess, the internet, and...
Of course.
Hopefully they can more than make up for it. I believe that they'll more than make up for it with Dallas, with shooters coming back and all that fine stuff. So I don't doubt that the trolls will cease come Dallas.
Yep.
But it's just, I will say this though, that if you were there, it felt nothing like how it probably felt from the stream.
No, I have to agree. Like, looking at it, I was like, these guys don't know anything that's going on Reddit right now, Twitter, looking at the fans and just like how intent they were with the screen and cheering along and everything. I was like, these guys have no idea what is happening behind the scenes, and that was good. I mean, that meant MLG was doing a great job of sort of masking some of the dirtier things going on, but yeah, that's it. I mean, let's kind of leave the sour and put a few more things out there. I want from you #1 moment. Take it how you can. #1 moment of the weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. #1 moment. It could be a player winning. It could be meeting a fan, meeting a pro player. #1 moment.
That is so tough because there was actually a lot of firsts for me for this tournament. I'll do the firsts, and then I'll go ahead and rattle off
All right, go for
the #1 moment.
Okay.
A lot of the first was I actually got to extensively chat with pro players. My first MLG in Orlando was kind of like, you know, like just getting me out there, and I was very nervous. Like it started off hell on my nerves because, you know, I sat there and I'm riding a plane with Boxer to Orlando. You can imagine how like my nerves were. So that was basically the whole weekend, as I'm surrounded by all these amazing players. I go to Raleigh, it's a little bit smaller, and I can get in my comfort zone quicker. It's I got to talk with, you know, Scoots. I pretty much talked with all of EG. I got to talk to who was I got to talk to Suppy pretty extensively.
That's right.
And then then the last night, the best cap off of anything is I got to sit down, go to dinner with Destro, two of his friends, and my girlfriend Liz, who came with me, as well as Nick and Gabe, my two friends that also met me down there. So it was pretty amazing, and I'm gonna have to say that was probably my number one moment. The tournament itself, I've been watching MLG tournaments for so long, and you know, getting to go to Orlando was just that experience as a whole was amazing, and so Raleigh was kind of just like, all right, I'm at another MLG tournament. This is gonna be a ton of fun. This is gonna be great. And the fact that I got to go and hang out with a player that I very much admire, and watch constantly was great. And I just got to sit down, have a meal, you know, just chit chat with him about everything StarCraft related, and then just, you know, random stuff, and it was pretty cool, really, really cool.
Absolutely.
So I think that's my number one moment was having dinner with Destiny.
Awesome, and
I mean, the Destro.
Destiny. Yeah, absolutely, and I think it was great that you got to go down there and share your experiences with all of us and tweet it all throughout the weekend. I just want to throw that out there real quick before I have a few more things I wanted to cover real quick, but definitely follow us over there on that side on YouTube and Twitter at GTL Gaming on Twitter and Game Talk Live SC on YouTube. Please follow us and subscribe to us on there. We would much appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And this is sort of my ICE's wrap-up segment. I want to project ourselves into the future a little bit. What do we have coming up in the future? I guess it's a little far in the future. I'm hoping to do shows like this a little more often, at least for YouTube purposes, and just get these things out there, kind of what's coming on in esports, and, you know, recent patches and games and how they're affecting the games and things. But we'll talk about that at another date. I'm gonna go big. I'm gonna talk about November. Obviously, we've got MLG in November, right? We've got, what is it? The Global Finals in Shanghai. Those are in November. We have Halo 4 and Call of Duty Black Ops 2 in November. That's going to bring a dramatic comeback to console shooters, hopefully bring back onto the MLG circuit, back onto the competitive scene, and I'm so stoked for that. And even closer than all of that is humongous as November's going to be. My birthday's in November. No, that's not it. But next weekend is the North American Regional Finals for League of Legends. That's at PAX Prime. Even if you're not a League of Legends player, not a League of Legends fan, go check out some of the streams. There are going to be streams for all, I don't even have the list of all the crazy games. Let me see if I can bring it up real quick for you guys. I know Torchlight 2 is going to be a big title that they're showing off, and there's just so much going on at PAX this weekend that it's going to be insane. You have to tune in.
Oh, absolutely. PAX is gonna be like humongous. Already, you've got. I've been listening to. I've been checking out Sir Scoots, tweeting about it constantly. You know, Puckett's been tweeting about it, and a lot of League players been tweeting about it. Tons of SC2 pros are tweeting about it. PAX is just gonna be colossal.
It's gonna be so big. All the panels of game developers from all of your games, from Riot Games to the IGN's doing a panel, all these people that you know and love, who make your games, who journal about your games, who write about your games, all this kind of stuff. It's going to be enormous. Please tune in. There's going to be streams all over Twitch. PAX actually sponsored by Twitch, so guarantee on the streams being on twitch.tv. And yeah, that's going to be really, really big. I'm really excited for PAX.
Oh yeah.
But that's it. Coming up, and there's gonna be a big, I think, thing for Guild Wars 2 coming in.
Yep, that actually dropping tonight.
Yeah,
12.
the official.
I actually cannot wait. That's probably what's gonna drop me off WoW for just a little bit. I'm gonna try to throw in a little bit of a healthy balance there between WoW and Guild Wars 2. But I've been looking forward to Guild Wars 2 since it's been announced. I've been excited about all the gameplay footage that I've been watching. The dynamic play is just looking incredible, and I can't wait to pick it up. I'm probably just gonna go ahead and buy it, buy it online tomorrow and just download it and start playing tomorrow.
Yeah, I know a lot of the huge streamers, Towley and all the big guys at Twitch have been playing non-stop because they get the early access. So they've been actually playing for days now, and some people are getting really high-level characters already. So yeah, so it's getting really nuts. The competition is sick. There's this world versus world mechanic, and the PvP looks sick. I'm not gonna get into it. We got to close out here for the night, but it's been really fun. Any final words? MLG, future of gaming, anything?
I'm just gonna say since we touched on the whole internet troll deal about how they view tournaments via the streams, if you've got a chance to go attend, do it. I drove 10 hours to go see MLG Raleigh. So if you've got the means, go to the tournament itself, and it'll make you think completely different about how they have to run these tournaments. Please just, and it also supports them in the meantime. You get a great experience. You get to support esports. What's better? Go to a tournament. Do yourself a favor.
That's just a perfect way to end it. I think even after some of the more negative things that we've been talking about tonight, that's just really puts a cap on everything. Do it. Support what you love. Support your game developers. Don't pirate shit. Support where it needs to be supported. So stop being a douche and do what needs to be done. So thank you guys so much for joining us. This was our first ever podcast, our first ever MLG recap. It's been so much fun. Please, if you haven't, please follow us on Twitter and YouTube. Thank you guys so much for watching. For Game Talk Live, my name is Ice.
And I'm Gridlock.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great night.
Take care.